Miss Sickler here, back again to keep reading from Amelia Bedelia Means Business. We are so lucky that Scholastic is allowing us to read books to you while you're at home, staying home and staying safe. Let's get going on chapter 12. Try a bite, not. Amelia Bedelia rode her bike to the town square where the parade was assembling. Suzanne was already there. When Amelia Bedelia saw Suzanne's bike, she was speechless. She felt exactly the way she felt the very first time she saw the bike. Suzanne had woven red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet crepe paper into the spokes of her wheels. When they went around, the colors revolved in a spiral into the center of the wheel. It looked like a swirling rainbow. Suzanne had glued glittery stars in the center of both wheels. Amelia Bedelia was so dizzy she had to look away. Was Suzanne trying to hypnotize the judges into voting for her? There were also rainbow-colored streamers flowing out of the ends of her handlebars, tiny flags, bunting made out of little paper unicorns, and jingle bells hanging everywhere. On the bright side, Amelia Bedelia was glad that she had not wasted her time trying to compete with Suzanne. Maybe Suzanne would toss her not new anymore bike as she rode away on her brand new bike. The poster in the bike shop had not mentioned that there would be a pet parade too. Amelia Bedelia could see cats, rabbits, goldfish, guinea pigs, snakes, mice, and dogs, and more dogs. Another thing the poster hadn't mentioned was that Wild Bill was the celebrity judge of the bike contest. He was riding with the mayor and Miss Individuality in one of his convertibles at the front of the parade. Now Amelia Bedelia was doubly glad she had not tried to win. Wild Bill would never pick her in a million years. She peeked under the bright yellow dish towel in her bike basket. There were her lemon tarts, all ready to hand out to people in the crowd as she rode by. Soon it was time for the parade to begin. The non-dog pets followed the convertible, then came the dogs, then came the kids on their bikes. The crowd cheered and clapped for all of the marchers. When Amelia Bedelia pedaled past her parents, they clapped loudest of all. "Hooray for tarts!" her dad yelled. Amelia Bedelia waved, blushed, and pretended not to know them. Then it started. Maybe it was triggered by her dad yelling, "Tarts!" As Amelia Bedelia pedaled by one of the dogs, it turned and looked straight at her. It put its nose in the air and sniffed. Then it began to wag its tail and bark, and bark, and bark. Amelia Bedelia recognized that dog. It was one of the dogs Diana had been walking, and it had loved the taste of her lemon tarts. Suddenly, a dog on the other side of the street started barking. Uh-oh, it had tasted her tarts too. As Amelia Bedelia rode on, dogs started sniffing, wagging, barking, and straining at their leashes, trying to get as close as possible to her. Amelia Bedelia peeked in her bike basket. No wonder those dogs were barking. The basket was filled with tasty tarts, and they smelled delicious. Amelia Bedelia decided then and there that this would be the perfect time to give out her tarts. If she passed them out now, maybe the dogs would leave her alone. She also decided that she would never listen to her father ever again. Peddling tarts? Ha ha, very funny, Dad. "Come back here, Bruno!" Amelia Bedelia looked behind her. Bruno had broken away and was running to catch up with her. "Someone grab my dog!" Another dog had broken away. Amelia Bedelia pedaled faster. "Lucky, stop! Stay!" And another, and another. "Hey, grab that leash!" It seemed as though all the dogs in the town were chasing Amelia Bedelia and her tarts. Maybe it was because they didn't want to miss out on a treat. Or maybe this was how dogs celebrated their spirit of individuality. Or maybe they just loved Amelia Bedelia. She was weaving in and out of the other bicycles and marchers. She pedaled as fast as she could on her old bike, with her lemon head bobbing wildly. "Faster!" yelled Suzanne, who had seen what was happening. She rode behind Amelia Bedelia, swerving back and forth, trying to keep the dogs away. Several of Amelia Bedelia's friends from school pedaled up and tried to help too. Go, Amelia Bedelia! Yelled Joy. Faster! Called Chip. Tweet, tweet! There was the policeman from the park. He blew his whistle at Amelia Bedelia and held up his hand to signal her to stop. Amelia Bedelia glanced over her shoulder. She had never seen so many dogs. She reached into her basket, pulled out a tart, and put it in the policeman's hand as she sped by. He blew his whistle even louder. She looked back and saw a dog leap through the air. It grabbed the tart right out of the policeman's hand, like a porpoise snatching a sardine from a sailor. The policeman stared at his hand and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. All of his fingers were present and accounted for. Phew. Amelia Bedelia saw Pete and Doris up ahead. She reached into her basket and handed them tarts as she pedaled by. Eat them quick, or, she warned. Pete and Doris were too slow. A pair of poodles leaped up and gulp, gulp. Those tarts were history. Amelia Bedelia had almost reached the head of the parade. There were still dogs everywhere. She wasn't sure what to do, but she knew she had to get rid of her tarts. She rode in a loop-de-loop pattern, then in a circle. Then she headed back the way she had come. Everyone was following her, dogs, their owners, and all of the kids on their decorated bikes. Amelia Bedelia handed out tarts left and right. Some folks actually got a taste. As Amelia Bedelia rode past the convertible, she tossed her tarts to the celebrities. Miss Individuality caught hers with one slender, white-gloved hand. The mayor used both hands. Wild Bill was waving his cowboy hat at the crowd as though he was riding a bronco instead of a car. Amelia Bedelia tossed her last tart right into his hat. Bullseye. Amelia Bedelia had run out of tarts just as she had run out of the parade, but the dogs, they were still chasing her. The air was full of their barking. Then it dawned on Amelia Bedelia that her bike looked like a huge dog treat. Even worse, the words, "Try a bite," were printed on her back. These dogs were pretty smart. Could any of them read? Amelia Bedelia promised herself that if she survived today, she would never have anything to do with signs again. Amelia Bedelia had to keep moving. She circled around and pulled up behind Wild Bill's convertible. She jumped off her bike and let it clatter to the ground. Miss Individuality helped her climb into the back seat of the car. Amelia Bedelia ripped the enormous tart off her shirt and threw it to the dogs. They had a blast tearing it apart, howling with happiness all the while. Amelia Bedelia slid down onto the seat next to Wild Bill. He took one look at the giant lemon bobbing on her head and said, "Not you again." Woof, woof, woof. The dogs were barking and drooling and circling the convertible. "Get us out of Dodge," yelled Wild Bill to the driver. Then the driver put the car in reverse and backed up. Crunch! The screeching of the metal being dragged across the pavement brought the entire parade to a halt. "What was that?" asked Wild Bill. "That," said Amelia Bedelia, her eyes brimming with tears, "was my bike." That's the end of chapter 12. Come back next time and we'll read chapter 13.